Hey guys, Karsh from OneTap. So today I will be talking about registrations. So when you're new to OneTap and you're trying to bring in data into OneTap, such as importing all the visitors, guests, student, employees, basically those are all your profiles. If you want to import those people into OneTap, we have a specific video that talks about how to do that from Excel. Today I'll be talking about how to use the registration form. So if you're brand new to OneTap and, for example, you want to import all the names of the visitors in here, this is the place you want to start because without having that information into OneTap, you can't really take attendance. So let's talk about what profiles are. Profiles are like unique contacts, like in your, for example, like on your phone, you have the address book, you have unique contacts of people. And then, for example, in CRMs, you have like unique customers that are, that are contacts, right? So, for example, the profiles on OneTap is exactly the same thing. It's just the unique visitors will be visiting. So that can be, for example, students, that can be employees, that could be customers, clients, it could be members, for example, if you're a nonprofit, or it could just be guests and unique, guests that are coming into events, or it could be like visitors that are signing into a building, for example, for visitor logs. We go over here and we hit upload profiles and we can drag and drop an Excel file and import that. So a lot of people already use like they already have a database somewhere that they want to, drag and drop and import, or they have a registration form that they can use, Google Forms, etc. By the way, FYI, we do connect with Google Forms and a few other software out there. So it's through our public API. So there's more information on that, how to use Zapier and all that. But in this video, we'll talk about the registration form that's already in OneTap. So we go over to the profiles tab and we have no lists. Well, we have two lists right now. I created two lists for art classes. So I did art class with the instructor for instructor A, it's Greg, and art class for instructor B. And I'm going to go to the profiles tab and I'm going to hit action. I'm going to hit upload profiles, sorry, share, and then the registration link. And as soon as you hit the share registration link, you're going to see this QR code and you're going to see the link right here. This is the QR code that you guys can print and put it up on the wall. So print it on a piece of paper, tape it to the wall, and people would be like, hey, register here. Or you can copy this link and send it over like a WhatsApp group chat or like email threads or like calendar invites, etc. Just however you want to get this link across. And when people click on it, this is what they're gonna see. So this page right here, I'm gonna move this to a new window, is what the visitor would see. So on the right hand side, just like, yeah, it's like it's all for them. That's not the admin. This side right here, the dashboard stuff we've been doing is on the admin. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and play around with a few settings here. So the first one is enable and disable. So if you disable this, they can't register. So you might want to maybe, for example, after the registrations are closed for a class or a course, you want to disable it. But let's just do a quick test with things being enabled. So I'm gonna type in John. I'm gonna go back to the default settings so that it's pretty simple. So the first thing that we do is we just type in John A, and we can type in the email address, phone, and address, but those are optional. Just hit register. That's it. So as soon as we do that, you're gonna see that the confirmation comes up. It's gonna say what time they registered, and this pass right here, this QR code is not the same as that QR code. This is the QR code that belongs to John. That's John's private QR code. This can be scanned. We made a whole video about how to use individual QR codes. This can be scanned with the mobile app, like from the admin side on the iOS admin app. Just a pass that John owns. It's similar to like having a ticket to a concert. It's like, hey, you registered, here's your ticket. What will happen is that John can also send it to himself and then hit the done button. So once you send out the email, once John sends himself the email confirmation, once John registers on the registration form, he's going to get this email that's going to say registration confirmation. And similar to that, he's also going to get a pass email if he decides to send himself a pass on the last page. And it's going to say something like this, hey, you're all set, you registered with this organization at this time, here's the admin's email, and here's the QR code pass that you can download and you can kind of keep that. So when you show up physically, you can check in faster. So as soon as we do the registration, we're going to go to the profiles tab and we're going to see John's profile there, okay? And this is the unique basically record for John. Like I mentioned, it's like similar to like contact, like a contact in your address book. So you don't want to have duplicates here. So you want to make sure that John doesn't register twice. For that reason, there's some duplicates built in with email addresses and stuff. So if you use email addresses, it can identify that. And then also what you want to do is like so yeah, and it also works with name, by the way. We'll say, hey, you're already John, you're already registered on here. And then so you can also look at the reason why you don't want duplicates is because John, for example, now can check into like 5 different events across like months, or you can check into like 10 different classes that are going on this month. and all the records, all the check-in records are going to be linked to John's profile. So they're all going to be in one place, which you're going to be able to access over here. So that's pretty much how registration works. Now let's talk about how to register onto a specific list. So let's say, for example, I have a specific event going on called Open Art Class, and it's for everyone, right? And maybe it's a community event. And I just want to keep track of like all the people who visited, who are interested in my business in my community. So I'm going to say this event takes place maybe like at 2 p.m. Create this list. And then what we can do is we can share a specific registration link for that list. So what we did was last time we just did it for the profiles. So as in like all the registrations just go to our profiles tab. None of it touches our lists. So if we want to add people into a list, for example, let's just say I know for a fact that like, hey, John's coming to this list. So I can add John in manually by hitting add profile and adding John in there. But I can also share the registration link for like future people, for people who are like my future visitors, like people who who are not in my database yet. So I'm going to share this link and I'm going to copy paste it right here. And what's going to happen is that this is going to say Open Art Class Community Event. It's going to have your description there, and you can also customize some more stuff over here, such as like the message, the information message. It's going to say something like, "Hi guys, super happy to see you here." And for example, what we can do is we can say something like, so we can hit the save button, and that's going to reflect on the registration link right here. So that's going to say, yeah, good morning, super excited to see you here. And we also have like different fields we can control, but we're going to dig a little bit more into that and how the surveys and everything works and how the confirmation and different stuff works. The confirmation message is what shows up after someone registers. So it's like, great to have you here. Please wait in the lobby for a few minutes and I will come out, greet you. And we just say, yeah, we just hit the save button and then we reload the link that's going to be applied. So this is again what the visitor would see on that side. So let's just say, for example, like David comes in, right? So David comes in, and then what we do is we just hit register. So again, email and phone number and all that is optional if they want to receive a confirmation message. And you can also, by the way, turn off the confirmation email. So if you don't want people getting it, but by default, again, it's on. That's just the email that they get, just saying that, hey, you registered at this event with this organization. So, and then the QR code pass is also on right here. So it says like the private QR code pass is automatically created by OneTap and it's shown right here. You can also turn that off too if you don't wish, if you're not using the QR code pass feature at all. And then as soon as we register, we see that we get the confirmation message right here, and then we get the confirmation time right here when they did the registration, and then the same stuff that we had before. So it's easy as that. We've done a registration on a specific list. Now, if we as the admin, we can go back and we can go into that specific list. So Open Art Class Community Event, and we can hit the refresh button. We can see that David is registered and John is registered. And we can also go to the Profiles tab and we hit refresh, and we're going to see that David is there as well because that's part of our global database as well as registrations on that list. Check-ins is pretty simple. We made a whole video about how to check in people, but you can just check them in on the dashboard right here as well. Or scan it fast to check them. Now, the registration form also has the ability to add photos, so you can take a photo with the camera. You can also, you can also customize these form fields. So let's talk about how we can do that, okay? So I'm going to go over to the universal registration link, which is the one that's over here. And that's the one that we have loaded right here. So the duplicates, we already talked about that, how to prevent duplicates. Now let's talk about some more customizations. So you can add cover image, which is going to be the image that shows up right here. The message, we already talked about it, the information message that shows up. You can say something like, hi, welcome to Gloria's Art Studio. And then that's going to be the message that shows up right here. And then what we can do is we can also go and like go into this customization right here, and we can customize the registration fields. Now this is where things start to get a little bit more like, I guess, yeah, a little bit more personalized based on the organization. So check-in code, you can do name, email, phone number, address. You can hide those. You can say, I don't want to have any of that. I just want to have like name, for example. Okay. And we can get rid of email and all that. Okay. And we can also add in other fields, for example, like custom check-in code. So check-in code is a unique like PIN code, or maybe it's like a unique number that each person has that can be used for check-in. In this example here, we're not gonna, it's one of those like primary fields, but we're not gonna be using that. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna create some custom fields. So let's say, for example, we want to track which level, like, like a student's in. So maybe you got like level 1 through 5, right? Or maybe like beginner, expert, and stuff like that. So this is where you want to create custom fields. I'll make a whole another video about this on different types of custom fields. So you can have text, phone number, date, etc. So we're gonna take like the list type here. So we're gonna say like experience level, and we're gonna say begin. These are the different values we can add in there. So we can say, oh, sorry, the experience level should go up here in the field name, and then we're gonna say beginner, advanced, medium, intermediate, like professional. Maybe we just say like maybe like hobby or something like that. So easy as that. We just hit add, and then we hit save, and that's going to be a custom field that's now available on the account for all the profiles. So we can go ahead and assign them in individually or manually, but we're going to be doing this with the registration form because this video is focused on the registration form. We're going to go ahead and add in another field. Maybe that's going to say, for example, when did you first start painting, right? First painting experience, or maybe first painting date. This is like a custom field we want to add, or maybe let's just say, for example, we want to do birthdays, right? It's just maybe like a little bit more, yeah, just a little bit, like a little bit of a better example. And maybe we want to say something like, we want to ask a yes or no question. It's just like, I visited before, first time visitor maybe. And this is a yes or no field, and we just want to say default value is no, and then just hit the save button. So we've created custom fields, which are like custom properties. So similar to like your address book, you might have a property that says social media account, right? Like Instagram username, or maybe it says a relationship, like is it a dad, is it a mom, is it a cousin, etc. So so the same thing with OneTap, you can have custom fields for each profile. So we can set them in manually, so we can set those values manually, but we're going to use a registration form to do that. So we're going to go over here, we're going to go to the community event, we're going to just hit the share registration link. And as soon as we have that registration link, we can send it to people, the visitors are gonna be checking in. So now let's do check-in as Sarah. Okay, so Sarah comes in and like Sarah says, okay, here's my, actually, let's go ahead and go to customize and registration fields. And we want to ask all those fields that we wanted to, that we put in the system, like birthday, experience, and the first time visitor. So we're gonna hit the save button. And then now if we reload this link, or they would scan it and it would reload, we're gonna say Sarah, and Sarah types in her email, phone number, address, and then all of a sudden she says, yeah, and then so like, for example, I'm gonna say that, hey, my experience level is like an intermediate, okay, or maybe I'm a beginner. And then the birthday here, she can put down her birthday. She can say, okay, yeah, my birthday is like 1999. And then like she can say, okay, well, like my first time visitor, yeah, I'm a first time visitor, okay? We're gonna hit register, and then all of a sudden what's gonna happen is like the same exact flow, same exact message. And then if we go into our list, or if we go into our profiles tab, we're gonna be able to see that Sarah has registered, and we'll be able to see all those custom field values, which is like all the stuff that you wanted to collect. So we see that she's a beginner, right here it says beginner, birthday, and then the first time visitor is yes. So pretty cool how you can use custom fields. You can create those on the account, and you can link them to the registration form to collect the information that you do need. And then you can skip out on information that's redundant, or maybe there's some custom fields you just don't want them to access. For example, maybe like you want to have information such as like, have they paid, right? Have they paid or not? So you can add that in as a custom field, but you don't have to show that on the registration. As well as maybe like emergency contact number, maybe it's like stuff like that, right? So that's all the stuff that you can add in as custom fields, and you can customize the registration form to reflect the information that is useful. Now let's take a look at what other stuff we can customize. Customize the format of the date. So if you just want to show date, you don't want to show like date and time. That's also like sometimes people prefer to do that because they just, they don't want to have a specific time. They just want to say, hey, it's just for that date. And the survey fields, you can actually create some survey questions as part of the pre-registration survey. So you can ask them more questions. So custom fields is more for like, I guess, properties that can go as part of their like contact information or their visitor profile. But you can ask survey questions, for example, like how did you hear about us? And then, so for example, the option here is going to be a list type. There's also going to be a bunch of types. We're going to make a video specifically on surveys. And we're going to say, for example, the options here are like maybe news, social media. We can say social media. We can also say, for example, website, Google Maps, friend, other. And then this is going to ask that survey question. We can also ask, for example, like a survey question, for example, that has signature in it. So it's just like, I agree to, I agree to the terms and conditions of my, of this business and the privacy policy. So you can ask that, and then you can ask people to sign over there. If it's like a liability type of stuff, you can also ask them to sign. You just hit the save button, and what will happen is that whenever they go to register, they're going to be asked to fill out that information. So I'm going to go over here to customize, and I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to leave in the survey questions over there, but I'm going to get rid of all these registration fields to make the form like much simpler and easier to use. So just name and email address, save. And then now if I go over here and scan when the visitor goes to the specific page. So let's just say, for example, I want to do Deanna. And then as soon as I hit continue, what will happen is that, see, I'm asked to fill out those survey questions. So how did you hear about us? So they can say social media, heard about on social media. And then for the privacy policy stuff, maybe you just want to sign, right? And then register. So pretty cool. So you can register onto that list and you can look at all the survey questions. You can look at all the responses as well as all that stuff right here. So Deanna, and by the way, this is going to be unchecked in because registrations just show up right here and then you can check them in because it's just like they've just been added into the list. And then see, it's got all the custom fields. How did you hear about us? Social media, and then here's the terms and conditions, the privacy policy that you can see right here, and then the signature. And then yeah, basically the registration forms, these are the pre-registration survey responses, and then these will also show up on the report as well. So when you hit the download button, you'll be able to see see the custom fields as well as the pre-registration survey. Now, the registration forms are pretty powerful. So we talked about, for example, how to navigate some of these basic settings, how it can be connected to a list. There's a way to do multiple list registrations, which are a little bit more advanced, which I'll talk about in a specific video about all the different settings, and then how to do group registrations. But this covers all the basic stuff. And then we talked about the customization, so you can add a message in there, customize the registration fields, survey questions, confirmation message, and the cover image, and then the date format. Now, some people do want to use other registration forms just because it's already been built out. They've already been using the system. It's much more complicated, much more comprehensive, or it's part of the organization. People don't want to change. What you can do is you can go to the create profile and you can do connect to other apps, and you can look at all the instructions right here on how you can integrate this with existing form software as well as Zapier and stuff like that. You can integrate it. So you can basically integrate with Google Forms. You can integrate with a lot of different forms out there using Zapier. Or you can even program in, connection to our app using a public API if you're tech savvy. And basically, we give you like an interface. Well, we make it really simple for you to create custom fields here and then map, for example, primary fields and custom fields from other registration apps and other registration software that can come into OneTap. And also, really quickly, we'll talk about the iOS app and the registration form there. You would access the registration form pretty much the same way as the dashboard. You go to the profiles and you hit the share registration link. And on the iPhone, it's going to be right here as well. But there's a lot of the customization and a lot of the stuff is available on the dashboard. So we recommend using the dashboard because it's like a lot more flexible, a lot more customizable. So yeah, definitely use this feature on the dashboard just for quick access. That's actually available on the iOS app. And then all the properties and all that stuff would just show up on the profiles like the same as before. And yeah, that's pretty much how you do registrations with profiles and how you add a registration in specific lists and registration forms that OneTap that's already built into OneTap.